How's it going, everyone? James Lynch here for Odds Checker US, doing my breakdown of Saturday night's UFC Fight Island 4 main event, which features former women's bantamweight champion Holly Holm taking on Irene Aldana. Now, this fight was initially scheduled for August 1st. However, Aldana got COVID-19, so they rescheduled the fight for this Saturday, but nonetheless, a very awesome matchup. Let's start first with Holly Holm. Like I mentioned, the former women's bantamweight champion. She's coming off a win. She rebounded from that loss to Amanda Nunes last year by picking up a win in a rematch against Raquel Pennington earlier this year, getting a decision in that fight. So Holm has fought sooner than Aldana. Aldana actually hasn't fought since December, where she knocked out Caitlin Vieira. Now, for a little bit of context there, Caitlin Vieira, it looked like was going to get the next title shot against Amanda Nunes, but ended up losing to Aldana. Aldana was the underdog in that fight, so Aldana surprising a lot of people, getting the win, and that's why she's getting this fight with Holly Holm, because of that huge win she had over Caitlin Vieira, handing the Brazilian the first loss of her career. Now, physically, both of these fighters are pretty similar. I think Aldana has a slight height advantage in this fight. Holm has a slight reach advantage, but they're pretty similar in that regard. But Holm is a lot older than Aldana. She's 38 years old. Irene Aldana only 32. So we'll see what type of Irene Aldana will have in this fight. But Holly Holm, very experienced. Like I mentioned, the former women's bantamweight champion. All of her losses are actually to either former or current UFC champions. Holly Holm, that is. So she's fought nothing but killers in terms of both the women's bantamweight division and the women's featherweight division as well. Holly Holm has fought the who's who, and also has some big wins as well. The win over Ronda Rousey. She has the win over Megan Anderson in a fight where I think people felt like Anderson was going to win that. So Holm is definitely battle tested, and also has a very experienced boxing background as well. So I think if this fight stays on the feet, you'd have to favor Holly Holm in this fight. Now, Aldana is a bit of a wild card here. A lot of her losses, especially in the UFC, have been very close losses. I remember her losing to Caitlin Chukagian. That was a fight that I think could have gone either way. So overall in the UFC, Aldana's looked pretty good, but I do think Holly Holm goes out there and wins this fight probably by decision. Like I mentioned, I don't see Aldana getting this fight to the ground and submitting Holly Holm. That's how Holm has lost before. She was knocked out by Amanda Nunes, but I don't think Aldana is going to go out there and knock out Holly Holm. I know she is coming off a knockout win in her last fight, but I don't see that happening against Holly Holm. Amanda Nunes is a much better fighter than Irene Aldana in this fight. Now, could Aldana go out there and maybe be a little bit faster and pull off the upset? It's entirely possible, but I think if we're going off what we've seen of both fighters leading up to this point, you have to go with Holly Holm. Like I mentioned, fought way better competition, way more experience, has the boxing experience as well. I just don't see Aldana being able to get Holm to the ground. If you remember the Miesha Tate fight where Holly Holm lost her title, Tate, it took her a while to get that takedown and get the submission. Holm's not going to make that mistake in this fight, and I just don't see Aldana trying to take this fight to the mat anyways. I think she's going to try and test her striking out and try and outpoint Holly Holm, which I think will backfire, and I think Holm will end up winning a decision in this fight. So I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Who are you picking in this fight? Are you on Holly Holm's side? Or are you on Irene Aldana's side? Let me know. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Lynch on Sports, and more importantly, subscribe to the Odds Checker US channel. That is where you'll find all my breakdowns every week, as well as my interviews. So definitely appreciate it if you do that. Also, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button as well. I'm James Lynch. I'll see you guys next week, and thanks so much for watching.